Rentals has construction equipment like forklifts, bobcat loaders, backhoes, excavators, and more. Reserve online at eaglerentals.com. That's eaglerentals.com.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Good morning, Cornelius and Lake Norman. Welcome to another episode and broadcast of About Town. I'm Officer Vinnie DiGerolamo, filling in for Mayor Woody Washam. And as you know, the second Thursday of every month, we have a public safety talk. It gives us the opportunity to bring guests on the show from the Cornelius Police Department. And as you know, I am also on the Cornelius Police Department. And we love to have different guests on, talk about things that are going on in town. We have different officers come on the show. If you remember the last show, we had Detective Brad Nichols, who talked about some of the things that we need to watch out for, some of the scams and some of the, fraudulent things that are happening in town, and just be a little more vigilant and kind of giving us an overview of what that division does. And today's guest, I'm very happy to announce, I have with me Sergeant Jeremy Sapp of the Cornelius Police Department. And just to give you kind of a little of a quick background, so Sergeant Sapp actually was the Cornelius Police Department's recruiter back in the day. And when I was interested in changing my career finally into law enforcement, he was a very, very big, intricate part of my success here, because if it wasn't for him kind of guiding me through and giving me the encouragement that I needed, I probably wouldn't be a police officer here in Cornelius. So I definitely owe it to Sergeant Sapp for that, and it'll be greatly appreciated. But I am going to let Sergeant Sapp introduce himself. So Sergeant Sapp, tell us a little bit about who you are and how long you've been here, and, kind of take us through your career a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you having me. Grateful for the opportunity. So I started my career here with the police department back in 2015, May of 2015, and I've got to do a little bit of everything, I think, at this point in time. I worked patrol, of course, when I first started my career, and then had an opportunity to work on our Lake Patrol unit for roughly 3.5 years. I got promoted to corporal, transitioned upstairs to that recruiter position that you talked about, and did the recruiting and background investigation. So glad we found you, glad you found us, and you're here with us. So grateful for that. And then got promoted to sergeant in January of 2023, went back to the road and worked patrol for 2 years, and just recently got assigned to our traffic safety unit. So I started that position January of 25. So, fairly new to the unit, kind of getting in the groove of things and trying to get things moving.
Sure. So, folks, that the Cornelius Police Department, we have many different divisions, right? We've got our K-9 team, we've got criminal investigations, we've got crime reduction unit, we've got a SWAT team, we have Lake Patrol. One of the divisions is traffic. And traffic was how long has the traffic unit been really established? I mean, it's been
it's
always been there, right?
We've in different forms, different stages, but we've always had a team dedicated to the roadway. Right.
So what we're going to do is kind of take me through like what the traffic division really is responsible for. How many do you have on your team?
Yeah.
Kind of take us through like a daily routine of what traffic unit is really responsible for.
For sure. So, we are an extension of the PD, right? So we're a part of that team. We just have 3 individuals, myself, a corporal, and an officer starting next week that will be dedicated just to their primary responsibility and functions are the roadways. So we are there to police the roadway, to observe, detect, and prevent any traffic violation.
Okay.
So that's our primary function. And under that umbrella is, don't want to get into a general statute by any means, but that falls under, Chapter 20. So, I mean, it is extremely lengthy, but we deal with and respond to crashes, whether it's just property damage or whether it's, crashes with injury. And then there's DWI enforcement that comes along with that. The speeding that the complaints that we get throughout the town in neighborhoods and roadways. Safe movement violations, all moving violations, stop signs, stoplights, that sort of thing. So we're there to, not only observe and detect and prevent, right? It's not just about stopping cars and issuing somebody a citation. We try to be as fair as we can. And, there are times where we feel like warnings are, deserved. And we use those times to educate, right? And to inform the public, hey, this is what we observe you do. We're not going to give you a citation at this point in time. We're going to educate in hopes that you drive safer in the future. So that's what our primary function is.
Yeah, that's amazing. And just the fact that you say it's more of an educational stop, especially for young drivers, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Teenage drivers, they think they're invincible. They think, I'm going to get away with it. Not saying all teenagers do that, but, and look, you don't have to be a teenager. I mean, it could be really any age, but
for sure.
I love the fact that we do educational stops. We're not all about just writing tickets. And one of the biggest questions that comes up all the time, and I'm going to let you answer this, but is there such a thing as a quota at the end of the month? Okay, thank you for clearing that up, because people say it all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And I knew the answer to that. I just wanted you to kind of confirm that. But, there's no quota. It's like, we're not constantly on the prowl or on the hunt for things. But, look, I mean, if you're going to drive unsafely and if you're going to violate, a law, a Chapter 20 law. By the way, folks, Chapter 20 is just the general statute for all motor vehicles, right?
That's correct. Yep.
I
I think at the end of the day, we talk about preserving life and property, right?
Sure.
Like stopping a car that is speeding could prevent a crash.
Absolutely.
And then that prevents an injury. Right. And then it saves somebody's pocket. Right. So insurance rates and premiums don't go up.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's about that. It's about preventing or saving lives, essentially. Right. DWI enforcement, a car swerving in and out of their lane, and taking somebody off the street, that a tragedy does not occur is why we're here.
Yeah. And we're definitely going to talk more about the DWI portion of this, and I had George Brenzi here.
Yeah.
Right. We all know George. I'm sure all the folks out there know George as well, but he's on the Lake unit. And listen, there's things like BWI, like you can get stopped for
absolutely
drinking and boating. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's on the roadway or on the water. We also want to talk about some of the laws regarding golf carts, because I get a lot of that question too. Oh, can a golf cart be considered a motor vehicle? Like what's considered a motor vehicle? Like what can you get stopped for?
Yeah, so just kind of a quick, reference to that. A golf cart on the roadway needs to be registered.
Correct.
Right? It needs to be registered. Insured, and then you have to have all the working equipment that is mandatory for a vehicle. So, a rear view mirror, side mirrors, blinkers, brakes, all that stuff has to be functioning so that, you're operating, safely and that you're in compliance.
Okay.
So,
okay. Yeah. And again, I'm sure these are questions that a lot of folks out there have, we know a lot of folks have golf carts now. Yeah. That's kind of their means of travel. Yeah, it's really popular, especially
small town. Yeah.
Right. Yep. This is really good. So I definitely want to come back to that. Let's talk more about, again, what the traffic unit really does, how many cars you think you stop in a day, and we'll pick up as soon as we can.
Sounds great.
And so again, this is really important for us to, kind of just touch base on a little more, but All right, folks, we're going to be right back with Sergeant Jeremy Sapp of the Traffic Unit with the Cornelius Police Department right after these messages.
Upper 70s with a mix of clouds and sun. Next big weather system we'll have to watch. Chance for scattered showers and some storms late Saturday night into the first half of our Sunday. We'll keep you posted. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like Nina's Boutique.
Here is the WSIC Community Calendar. The Bet on Us Casino Night Fundraiser Gala is almost here. This black tie event, co-hosted by Absolute Hope Foundation and Hope House Foundation of Huntersville, supports local families in need. Join us for an unforgettable evening and learn how these organizations are making a difference in our community. Visit AbsoluteHopeFoundation.com for details. Celebrate St. Patrick's Day weekend on Saturday in downtown Mooresville with Shamrocks and Shenanigans. The event features live music, Irish dancers, a drum and pipe band, food trucks, festival adult beverages, cornhole, and a bar crawl. See you Saturday in downtown Mooresville from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. for Shamrocks and Shenanigans. Saturday night, the 500 Club in Statesville presents live music with Breaking Point Band. You will hear classics from 70s and 80s rock and have a band experience that you won't forget. Enjoy live music at 6 p.m. Saturday at the 500 Club with Breaking Point Band. Come on out and meet the WSIC team on Saturday, March 29th at Snooze Mattress in Cornelius. We will be doing a ticket giveaway, so stop by and sign up. Maybe Merle Fest? We shall see. We are looking forward to meeting you on Saturday, March 29th at Snooze Mattress in Cornelius from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Spring is in the air, and so are outdoor events at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The 2025 calendar already has dates set for the Auto Fair, NHRA, NASCAR, Monster Trucks, Supercross, World of Outlaws, and more. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for season schedules, tickets, and camping information. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Merlefest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, The Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Floors, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, The Warren Treaty, The Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit merlefest.org.
Now, more About Town with Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
And we're back once again. About Town. I am Officer Vinnie DiGerolamo with the Cornelius Police Department, filling in for Mayor Woody Washam today. And if you're just joining us, folks, we do this show. We do the show on the second Thursday of every month, and it's like our public safety show, right? I try to bring different guests on the show, different officers, and kind of just go through what our divisions do, what each officer does, and kind of fill you in about what's going on in the police department. And as you know, at the end of the show, we talk about the events that we're having in town, our community policing events and our community engagement events. So again, if you're just joining in, I have with me today Sergeant Jeremy Sapp from the Cornelius Police Department. He's a sergeant over our traffic unit. And we talked about some of the responsibilities that the traffic division does. Yeah. So Sergeant, take me through a daily, like your daily routine on the traffic unit, and just kind of explain to the folks what that looks like.
Yeah. So, right as of now, we have, a couple guys that are dedicated to the unit. We have one more that's going to be joining us next week. So we work varying schedules to try to cover, as much as we can.
Right.
So, day to day is spending time out on the road, again, observing, trying to detect and prevent those violations from happening. A good thing about it is statistics and data help us out a lot with our profession. So we're able to look at the areas in our town that are high crash areas, right? And be there, right, to try to prevent that from happening.
Sure.
So not only crashes, but it's also speeding or stop sign violations. Stoplight violations, and a lot of those times there's those things that happen when we're out or day to day, but a lot of times it's pinpointed. It's focused from complaints or concerns from citizens, right? So we listen to our citizens, we hear those complaints, and
right.
A concern that may be occurring in a certain neighborhood, or an issue that's happening, down Bethel Church Road or wherever it may be,
sure.
or West Catawba. And so we're there, right? And we try to spend time in those areas again so that we can address those issues. There's administrative duties of our job as well, right? I mean, we're running, not only traffic officers, but patrolmen and everybody that's doing that function as well. There's a lot of things that we do on the back end, right, documentation-wise.
Correct.
Reporting to the state after we make a traffic stop and that sort of thing as well. So, there's paperwork involved in it too. So it's
right.
not just out there getting out of the vehicle and stopping cars. So, but
Yep.
that's a little day to day of what we're doing.
Okay. And just before the break, we talked about we try to make traffic stops educational.
Mhm.
I mean, listen, if it's something that just is blatantly
Mhm.
breaking the law, like you're blowing through stop signs, you're speeding through neighborhoods, like, yeah, like you're gonna get you're gonna get a citation. I mean, that's just, that's holding people accountable,
Yep. For
right?
sure. Yep.
But we try to make educational stops. We make stops for preventative, right?
Yeah.
Preventative things to happen. You're speeding, as you said before, that can cause a crash.
Mhm.
It can cause all kinds of havoc, especially DWIs, okay, which we are going to talk about a little
Yeah.
more in depth. And so, in addition to the day-to-day routine traffic responsibilities, I also know that you guys have different campaigns and different patrols that you do and different things that you set up. Can you explain a little bit about what those are, what the purpose is, and how do you think it's helped or changed the way our traffic flow or our traffic violations are in town?
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, like you said, there's a lot more we do throughout the year, and there's special campaigns that we run, right? Click it or ticket.
Yep.
Booze it or lose it. No need to speed, and those are a team effort, right? So that's when
Right.
we're all here together, and we're working a specific time to address a specific issue or to partake in a campaign that's going on, you know, throughout the state. And then we have saturation patrols where we work in conjunction with other agencies, right? We have great relationships with other agencies that surround us.
Sure.
And so we work together with them as well to kind of, lack of a better term, flood the town with a more officers to address those issues as well. And then we have DWI checkpoints throughout the year, and so. And then there's on top of that, there's things that we actually do, educational community events, if you will, where we are partnering with the Citizens Academy that's coming up, right? So
yes.
we're a part of that, where we come in and we educate, again, kind of do what we're doing today, on a more smaller scale, and then we partner with our local schools as well. So we want to get in the schools and make sure that we are doing our part to educate the youth about these things, about underage consumption or impaired driving and crashes, speeding, and that sort of thing. And we actually have one that we're partnering up with Huff High coming up in a couple weeks.
Right, exactly.
To be there, and which is going to be really neat. And then again, we partner with HOAs as well. So if we can come in and talk with HOAs about issues or how to address certain things, we do that as well. So this is a little bit more of what we do throughout the year.
Sure. No, and those are great. And do you find that it really helps, or do you think it kind of reduces the amount of violations that you see, and people are just a little more aware that these may be happening?
Yeah, I think anytime we do something like that, right, where we're out here, it helps.
Sure.
When somebody passing through our town who's not a citizen, right, who's
Right.
traveling, sees a car stopped on the side of the road, blue lights, typically people see that and they observe that and they go, okay, well, maybe I need to slow down a little bit, or maybe I
Right.
need to put my phone away, or maybe I need to share the roadway better, whatever it may be. Kind of gets people in that mindset of, okay, yeah, I need to drive a little safer.
Right. And this is a question again that comes up, and I'm sure you can clear this up. So can you take us through what the law is about texting and driving versus on the cell phone and talking?
Yeah,
That's a question.
So if you bring up, and I don't know the general statute verbatim, but if you bring up the statute for being on your phone while driving, it actually talks about it's not just texting, right? So it's manipulating multiple keys at a time. So whether that's on Google Maps, or
Right.
whether it's social media, or reading an email. We see this quite a bit where, technology is ever prevalent
Yeah,
in our
that's
life,
right.
right? We're not going to
Yep.
get away from it,
Right.
but we need to do our best to reduce it. So, we see all the time people driving and their phone is, up out in front, and they're not paying attention to what's going on around them, which is dangerous. And so not only dangerous for them, but it's dangerous for others. And so,
Sure.
Being cognizant of that and, leaving earlier, that way you don't have to, pull your phone out while you're driving or, pulling over on the side of the road so that you can make that phone call or answer that email or respond to that text.
Right.
That can save a life. It can prevent injuries. And so that's why we address that for sure.
Yeah. And that's good. And again, whether you're a teenager, when you're an adult, I mean, we live by our phones, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's like, you can't not answer a text, or you can't not look at a text, or, I mean, some people can, but it's just our brain is wired to just
That's the
always
world
look at
we
our
live
phone,
in.
right? Yeah.
It's the world we live in. Technology's everywhere. It's
Yeah.
just if you leave earlier, if you leave your house a little earlier and you do get that phone call or that text message or that email, you have time to stop.
Sure.
And to answer that, and you'll still get where you need to be on time. So
Right.
It's doing those things proactively rather than
Correct.
an afterthought.
Let's talk about, we do get quite a bit of traffic crashes, would you say? Like, and then where would they occur the most? Like, where do you think some of these, and thank goodness they're not major crashes with, a lot of personal injury, things like that. It's just, a lot of people and a lot of folks are bumping into each other. A lot of folks are hitting each other. They're not paying attention. They're running through the lights.
Yeah.
What would you say the biggest, reason for crashes are?
It kind of comes back to the being proactive and leaving early and not being distracted. And so, patience comes into play here, right?
Right, yep.
Not just swerving into somebody else's lane, so yielding the right of way, clearing that intersection before you actually go through it.
Right.
And so I'd say, kind of back to your question about, I don't have the stats of where our highest crash, that's something that, I don't have with me, unfortunately, but a lot of our major intersections, right? So Westmoreland, coming across, 21 right there at Statesville Road.
Yep.
Catawba and Liverpool, Torrance Chapel, that area, the DDI, can be
Right.
confusing for people who aren't used to it.
That's for sure.
73 in West Catawba. So a lot of your major intersections are kind of be where they occur, more prevalent.
Yeah.
But really, it's doing the things that you were taught to do when you first started driving, and that you were tested on to get your driver's license. But we're back to technology. That life is busy. We're always in a rush. We want to get to where we're going in a hurry.
Sure.
It's just slowing down a little bit.
That's right.
Taking that time to look over your shoulder before you put it in reverse and hit the gas pedal, and just being more patient and attentive to what's around you.
Right. Right.
And it's simple, right? It's not
Sure.
rocket science,
Right,
but
right.
that's everybody.
It's
right?
common sense.
Yeah, for
right?
sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I remember when I was on patrol, I would respond. I just felt like I was always getting involved, or I would respond to parking lot crashes. Like, we say, we say PVA, right, which is a public vehicular area, and I felt like I was always
We have
folks are just not. They're not paying attention. They're just backing out,
or pulling in, and not. It's and. Or driving too fast in a parking lot to where they're not creating enough space, right? They sideswipe a car while they're parking. So it happens all the time.
Right,
for sure.
right. Yeah, we see it all the time.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to pick up on that a little bit further when we come back. But we will be right back, folks, with About Town, the Woody Washam Show, and I'm here with Jeremy Sapp.
More About Town with Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam. Coming up on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the warmth continues. Plenty of sunshine. A few clouds mixed in for our Thursday. Maybe not up to 80 today, but we'll still be in the mid and upper 70s for the afternoon. Falling back into the mid and upper 40s overnight. We'll finish out the work week warm, back in the upper 70s with a mix of clouds and sun. Next big weather system we'll have to watch. Chance for scattered showers and some storms late Saturday night into the first half of our Sunday. We'll keep you posted. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Hi, This is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Harrison's is the home of Work Western, and wow! For nearly 30 years, our family has been boots on the ground when it comes to work. We have the largest selection of in-stock boots in the Carolinas and the best workwear brands like Harriet, Carhartt, and Wrangler. Find us on Norman Station Boulevard in Mooresville.
DrumLandscapeSupply.com. DrumLandscapeSupply.com. DrumLandscapeSupply.com.
Honey, what are you doing?
Oh, I figured if I rubbed my lawn and said DrumLandscapeSupply.com, I'd have the dream lawn I've always wanted.
Craving a taste of Italy? At Palmadoro's, we serve up scratch-made comfort with every bite. From our hand-tossed pizzas to classic pasta dishes, it's the perfect place to gather your family or just treat yourself. Visit Palmadoros.com for menus and hours. Your table's waiting.
The iCats team wants to thank you. Join us for coffee on Rider Appreciation Days, March 24th at Statesville Walmart and March 25th at Mooresville Walmart, 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's our way of saying thanks. Learn more at rideicats.com.
Year-end specials, Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville. How about this for a bargain? 2024 Chevrolet Equinoxes. These are the LT models as low as $22,770. We have got over 25 of these vehicles in stock. You pick the color, drive it home today. That is a Randy Marion Chevrolet Statesville special. Again, $22,770. $22,770. Only a couple thousand miles on these vehicles. Come see them today. Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville.
No radio? No worries.
Just ask Alexa to play WSIC.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Stocks in some of the biggest names in European beverages have been falling today. Shares of Moet Hennessy owner LVMH, as well as Ricard, Cointreau, Campari, and Diageo, all down. This in response to President Trump's threatened 200% tariffs on European wine, champagne, and other alcoholic drinks, which would be a retaliation against the European Union's plan to tax incoming American whiskey, which itself is a planned retaliation against Trump's steel and aluminum tariffs. And back and forth it goes. The latest look at inflation, today's producer price index for last month, shows what at first glance is an encouraging reading. No month-to-month wholesale price increases. But a closer look shows that wholesale prices for goods rose the most in 2 years last month, balanced out by a drop in investment-related services prices. After a split for Wall Street's main indexes yesterday, we're back to the losing ways of the week. Dow and S&P 500 down 0.5%, NASDAQ down 1%. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
The number one station for people who say we're their favorite station.
WSIC.
It's About Town with Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
And we're back, folks. Officer Vinnie DiGerolamo here with About Town, filling in for Mayor Woody Washam. Once again, if you just joined us, we have with us Sergeant Jeremy Sapp from the Cornelius Police Department. He's my guest this week, and we're talking about traffic safety. He's on the traffic unit, and we went through a whole plethora of information about what they do every day, what their daily responsibilities are, what type of campaigns they hold, like Click It or Ticket. We do some DWI patrols. We do just regular saturation patrols. And, you know, and the reason for this is, again, we want who's ever coming through the town to respect the laws and the traffic laws on our town, because we want our business owners, our residents, our kids to all be safe.
Absolutely.
You know,
Safe.
we never want to report, or we never want to, you know, get called to a scene of a terrible accident because people aren't paying attention, or they're speeding, or they're doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. We talked a little bit about texting and driving. Like, I know we live in a world of technology, and it's like you have to answer that text. You have to answer the email. You've got to be on your phone. We need a little more common sense to say it can wait, because you're driving down West Catawba, you're going down Westmoreland, and we know the traffic backs up. you're going 20, 25 miles an hour, maybe a little faster. You look down at your phone, you look up, the next thing you know it, you're plowed into somebody because you, like the text couldn't wait.
Yep.
And it's just common sense, right? So we want everyone who's driving through town, who live here, who work here, who play here, always to be safe, especially in the neighborhoods. We have a lot of neighborhoods here, a lot of communities. I mean, just the list goes on and on, right? Robbins Park, we have, Bluestone Harbor. There's so many in town.
Yeah.
And it's like you got to slow down. There's kids riding bikes. There's people walking dogs. You need to slow down, and you need to just, as Sergeant Sapp said before, leave earlier. You're in a hurry to get somewhere. Leave a little bit earlier.
Yep.
Try to be a little more vigilant on the road. So I want to talk a little bit about DWIs now, right?
Yep.
So Sergeant Sapp, you've made it clear, and our policy is we have a zero tolerance
Yes.
for people who drink alcohol and then think it's okay to operate a motor vehicle.
Yes.
So I'm going to let you kind of take this segment over because you're the expert on it, and just tell us what you think.
Yeah, so like you said, we do. We have a zero tolerance for that. Another thing that we have a zero tolerance for is underage consumption.
Correct.
And a lot of times that can go hand in hand.
Sure.
And so I just kind of want to remind the public, it's not just alcohol, right?
Oh,
sure.
Sure.
It's any impairing substance, whether that be legal or illegal, right? So a prescription pill or medicine, right? So think about that. If you're taking a medication that makes you sleepy or drowsy, don't get behind the wheel, right? So, but we want you to drive sober. The last thing that we ever want to do is have to respond to a house where a family member or a friend is and say, hey, such and such got into a crash, or such and such was arrested for DWI, and they've hurt somebody, or they got hurt, or God forbid they didn't make it, right? That is like the last thing that any of us in this profession ever want to do, is to make a notification like that. But driving while impaired is dangerous. There's
Absolutely.
no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right.
The statistics throughout the state, throughout the country, prove that when you're impaired and you drive, the odds go, they increase substantially for injury and for death. Right. And so being a responsible driver is super simple. It's very, very simple. If you're impaired, don't drive.
Correct.
If you're impaired, don't drive.
Yeah.
Plan ahead. Arrange for a safe ride home.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be a family member or a friend.
Sure.
Have a primary, have a secondary in case something happens, and plan ahead. Right.
Right.
Write it down, put it down, whatever you need to do. Back to technology, right?
Exactly.
Back to modern day technology. Not only do we still have a taxi, but we have Uber, we have Lyft, we have public transit. We have all these means to where you can go out and go out to dinner, or have a good time with friends, or go celebrate a holiday like St. Patty's Day,
Sure.
That's coming up.
Exactly.
But you can do that and do it safely.
Yeah.
And so, and then if you're hosting an event and you're serving alcohol, make sure that it's your responsibility, right, to make sure that your guests leave with a sober, legal driver.
Right.
And that they get home.
Sure.
And if that can't happen, plan to say, you know what, you can stay the night.
Right. Absolutely.
No, take the keys. You can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Be that person that's bold and says, you may be mad at me, but I may be saving your life. So you can be mad at me tomorrow.
Yeah.
So do whatever you can to eliminate that individual getting behind a wheel. And so we again, it's zero tolerance. It's so that people are not injured and people do not, lose their life.
Right. Yeah. And we do a lot of talks about DWI and underage consumption to high school kids, right?
Yeah.
So I've done it, you've done it. And we basically tell them, listen, you're going to be adults, you're going to try things, you're going to consume alcohol, and you're going to maybe even try things, at some point in your life, but you need to be responsible. And they ask me all the time, well, what's the repercussions? What's the penalty for that? Like, what are the consequences?
Yeah.
And you know what I tell them? If you're lucky, if you're very, very lucky, you're going to lose your license. Your insurance is going to go up. You're not going to be able to drive. It's going to be on your record permanently. There's consequences.
Yep.
And they're like, well, that doesn't sound very lucky. I said, no, you're very lucky.
Yeah.
Because the alternative to that.
The alternative is us showing up on your doorstep and knocking on the door and asking for mom or dad or a guardian or a family member and saying, it's much, much worse.
Exactly.
You can't take that back.
100%.
And it's one time,
Right. Right.
And so that's why it's important to know that,
Yep.
Don't drive. If you're impaired, just don't do it.
And how many excuses have you heard, or how many things have you heard in your career?
Oh, yeah.
I live down the street.
Mm-hmm.
I'm perfectly okay.
Yeah.
I only had 2 beers, right?
Yep.
I only had a martini.
Yep.
I'm fine. I'm good. Now, I'm sorry, but it impairs your decision making.
Yes.
It makes you sleepy. It could make you go through these things that you just cannot logically and safely operate a motor vehicle. How many times have we seen cars going over the double yellow line,
Yep.
almost running off the roadway, crashing into things?
Mm-hmm.
We had someone who fell asleep at a stoplight.
Yep.
I mean, it was I just fell asleep.
That happens quite frequently, or they pull over because they left a fast food, restaurant, and they pull over to eat, and while they're there, they're asleep, but yet the car's still in drive. Their foot's on the brake, luckily, or driving the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
And coming at other motor vehicles head
Sure.
on.
Right.
So that that stuff happens, and you're right. Make the right choice.
I just, we have to make choices every day of our lives. We tell folks you got to make the right decision.
Yep.
You're drinking. You want to have a good time with friends. It's fine. You're entitled to.
Yep.
But again, you need to be responsible not only for yourself, your family, but others.
Absolutely.
Others out on the road, because you have some innocent person driving home from maybe working a double shift or maybe working a 3rd job so they can take care of their family. The poor person's coming home at 2:00 in the morning just to try to get home and get some sleep, and he's hit by a drunk driver.
Yep.
It's a morbid subject.
Yeah.
But it needs to be spoken about.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So here's a question I have for you. If you're sitting in a parking lot behind a motor vehicle, okay, like you're in your car and you're sitting in the parking lot and you fall asleep. If the car is running, what constitutes a DWI? Can you get investigated for DWI, or can you get arrested for DWI if you're in your motor vehicle
so
and you're sleeping in the parking lot?
So if the motor vehicle is on and running, that is what constitute you operating the motor vehicle.
Correct.
Right. So be cognizant of that, and that's why we say never get behind the wheel so you don't get in that position. Right.
Exactly.
Never start the car.
Right.
Never drive off.
Right.
If 1 drink, 2 drinks, whatever it may be, just tell yourself, swallow the pride if you have to.
Mm-hmm.
Ask for help and say, it's just not worth it.
Right.
It's not worth it. So
sure.
Yeah. It's
it's not just again, we talked about before. It's not just motor vehicles. It could be a boat. It could be a golf cart.
Bicycle.
Right? A bicycle. Anything that is considered a motor vehicle on the roadway, you can get stopped. You can get arrested for drinking while under the influence.
Yes.
But again, we're going to talk a little bit more about this when we come back. And folks, I hope you're enjoying the show and keep listening. I'm Officer Vinnie DiGerolamo with About Town.
Don't go anywhere. We'll return with more of Mayor Woody Washam and About Town in just a moment on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, the warmth continues. Plenty of sunshine. A few clouds mixed in for our Thursday. Maybe not up to 80 today, but we'll still be in the mid and upper 70s for the afternoon. Falling back into the mid and upper 40s overnight. We'll finish out the work week warm, back in the upper 70s with a mix of clouds and sun. Next big weather system we'll have to watch. Chance for scattered showers and some storms late Saturday night into the first half of our Sunday. We'll keep you posted. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is the WSIC Community Calendar. The Bet on Us Casino Night Fundraiser Gala is almost here. This black tie event, co-hosted by Absolute Hope Foundation and Hope House Foundation of Huntersville, supports local families in need. Join us for an unforgettable evening and learn how these organizations are making a difference in our community. Visit AbsoluteHopeFoundation.com for details. Celebrate St. Patrick's Day weekend on Saturday in downtown Mooresville with Shamrocks and Shenanigans. The event features live music, Irish dancers, a drum and pipe band, food trucks, festival adult beverages, cornhole, and a bar crawl. See you Saturday in downtown Mooresville from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. for Shamrocks and Shenanigans. Saturday night, the 500 Club in Statesville presents live music with Breaking Point Band. You will hear classics from 70s and 80s rock and have a band experience that you won't forget. Enjoy live music at 6 p.m. Saturday at the 500 Club with Breaking Point Band. Come on out and meet the WSIC team on Saturday, March 29th at Snooze Mattress in Cornelius. We will be doing a ticket giveaway, so stop by and sign up. Maybe Merle Fest? We shall see. We are looking forward to meeting you on Saturday, March 29th at Snooze Mattress in Cornelius from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Spring is in the air, and so are outdoor events at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The 2025 calendar already has dates set for the Auto Fair, NHRA, NASCAR, Monster Trucks, Supercross, World of Outlaws, and more. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for season schedules, tickets, and camping information. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Merlefest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, The Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Flores, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, The War and Treaty, The Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit merlefest.org.
Call now to speak with Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam at 844-STUDIO-4. It's About Town on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And we're back. Officer Vinnie DiGerolamo here with the Cornelius Police Department, filling in for Mayor Woody Washam and About Town. As you know, we've been talking with Sergeant Jeremy Sapp of the Cornelius Police Department's traffic unit. We talked about a whole bunch of things today, and I really hope it was informative and helpful for the folks out there listening. This last segment of the show, we started talking about DWIs and how dangerous it is and how we need to all be responsible when we are going to go out for dinner with friends and celebrate different holidays. As you say, we know St. Patty's Day is coming up. We want the folks out there to be safe and to be responsible. We want everyone to get home safely.
Yes. Absolutely.
You know, and again, we talked to a lot of the teenage drivers, you know, who think that they're invincible and I can do it, you know, and I only live 2 minutes from home. And that's when the most things happen.
Yeah.
When you're so close to home,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep. Statistics say that. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So let's wrap up that about DWIs, you know, and kind of walk us through like what your investigation looks like. If you suspect somebody that's been drinking and driving, kind of take me through a little bit of an investigation and how we come to the determination based on your experience of who's impaired and who's not impaired, and you know, things like that. And then we want to go through some traffic safety tips.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, there's pre-stop signs, right? You know, moving violations, someone swerving in, and you know, and this includes this. This isn't everything, but you know, speed is one. Either increased or decreased speed, right? So it's not just speeding. It can be somebody driving substantially under the speed limit.
Sure.
You know, swerving in their travel lane, crossing, you know, the fog line or the double yellow.
Right.
You know, signs of somebody, you know, stopping and slowing abruptly, or pulling up to a stop sign and being a great distance away from that, or the stoplight, stop bar. So there's a lot of those signs. But, you know, if we have a reason to stop a vehicle legally, and you know, we'll do that, approach the vehicle, and you know, we're observing, right? We're observing, you know, their eyes. We're observing their speech. We're observing, you know, body language. Is there an odor of alcohol that's coming from the vehicle, coming from their breath in the vehicle, or is there alcoholic containers in the car? So if we feel like somebody may be under the influence, we will ask them to step out and perform tests, and we have to make a determination based upon those tests and our training, and is somebody impaired? And then, after that fact, if we make an arrest, there's things that go on after that that take place. And so, that's just kind of an overview of that.
Right.
Again, it's nothing we want to do, but it comes with the job and the territory. And again, making the roadway safe.
Correct. So, for the folks out there, so every officer goes through field sobriety testing training, right? Each officer has to be able to determine whether or not, again, somebody is impaired enough to not be driving.
Yes.
And again, there's different tests that we do just to make sure that that person is safe and that person is okay to continue on their journey home or wherever their destination is.
Yes.
And there's things, well, I'll let you talk about that. Like give me like 3 or 4 different tests that you would put somebody through once they step out of the vehicle and you suspect that they're driving while impaired.
Yeah, so there's the HGN, HGN test, right? We're testing your eyes for certain movements, and then we have one leg stand, walk and turn. There's other tests, divided attention tests that we can do, whether it's reciting a portion of the alphabet or counting backwards from a certain number to another number. There's a finger test as well. There's a multitude of things that we do to determine, if you're safe to drive, you go on your way, right?
Right.
So
exactly.
we're trying to determine, like, if you're safe to drive, then have a great night, be safe. Hey, the violation we stopped you for, be cognizant of that, right? You're swerving, you ran a stop sign, you were speeding, whatever it may be, and so that's just a little bit of what we do during a DWI investigation.
Okay. And is there anything else that you want to touch upon as we wrap up this DWI segment? I mean, is there anything else that you want to add to it or that you've seen?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you have any statistics, or do you think,
Yeah, I think going over just a refresher and a reminder, NHTSA, which is the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, puts out driving tips.
Okay.
And so they put out 10 safe driving tips for 2025. And again, like you said earlier, a lot of them are common sense. A lot of these things we've known before, but it's great to be reminded. It's just a refresher of, man, you know what? You're absolutely right. And the first on the list would be to buckle up. Every time you get in the vehicle, every time you drive, put your seatbelt on.
Sure.
And it's not and use the seatbelt correctly. So it's not just putting it on and hearing the click or putting it behind your back and clicking so it doesn't ding, that sort of thing. But actually use it, across your waist, and your hips. Don't put it over your stomach, across your chest and shoulder. So wear the seatbelt correctly. So that would be number one, right? Buckle up every time, every trip. Number two, if you have children, make sure that they're in the correct seat. I mean,
exactly.
Just a week ago, I'm out monitoring traffic, and a child was not in the correct seat, right?
Right.
And like you said, the excuse was, well, we're just going right down here. Well, right down there, in between your house and there, something could happen.
Absolutely.
And so make sure that they're in the correct seat. Make sure you check the warranty on it, the expiration date, and then when that child needs to be moved up to another seat.
Sure.
So, we've talked about driving sober. That's one of their tips, which is a no-brainer. And then sharing the road, paying attention to the road. Don't be distracted. It's not just texting. It's not just on your phone. It's the radio. It's eating, drinking. It's reading. I've seen people reading books behind the wheel, putting on makeup, whatever it may be.
Absolutely, I know.
Just be cognizant of that and think before you act. So paying attention to the road. Of course, one of our biggest complaints in town is speed. And just to kind of touch on our town ordinance says that if you're in a neighborhood, the speed limit is 25 miles an hour unless it's posted otherwise.
Okay.
Throughout town, it's 35 unless it's posted otherwise.
Right.
So be aware of that. Obey speed limits.
Okay.
Never drive drowsy, right? So if you're sleepy, you're tired, you work a third shift, try to make it home some other way. You're on a certain medication because you had surgery or whatever it may be.
Sure.
Don't let that affect you, and don't get behind the wheel. pay attention to flashing lights, meaning, not just police,
Right.
construction workers,
Sure.
Ambulances, fire trucks. I can't tell you how many times, we've been responding to a PI crash, a crash with injury.
Sure.
And, nobody's getting out of your way
Right.
because we're so distracted,
Right.
at other things. And so pay attention to flashing lights, sirens and that sort of thing. Move over. If an officer or fire truck or EMS or somebody has somebody pulled over, if you can, safely move over, give them the road, share the road.
Okay.
And this one is for parents out there, parents who have children, teens who drive. I have children. Officer DiGerolamo has children. It's our responsibility to teach them, to educate them, to inform them. And so we have way more influence as parents than we really think we do. It's not the teacher's job, to do all the teaching. It's not the boss's job to do all the accountability. So as a parent, do your job, and teach your kids, prepare them for what may come. One thing that you may not think about a lot is recalls.
Right.
So on your vehicle.
Right.
And so you can be aware of that. I mean, we've had recalls before where people are driving down the road and all of a sudden all their airbags deploy.
Wow.
And cause crashes.
Sure.
Or it may be an engine failure or whatever it may be. And there's website, you can Google websites and you can check those things. But those are just kind of some 10 safe driving tips for 2025. It seems simple, and it is. It's very simple, and I hope that helps in some way.
Yeah, I mean, this has been extremely helpful. Again, folks, it's common sense, right?
Yeah.
I guess today's message is be responsible, don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
Be careful on the roadway. Let's make Cornelius a safe place for people to live, work, and play.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Sergeant Sapp, I really appreciate your time with us. This has been amazing. Folks, we're coming to the end of the show, and of course, what I like to do is always give you some of the things that are happening within the police department and our community events. Our Citizens Academy, we're going to run 2 this year because it's
awesome.
so popular.
That's great.
Yeah, we love it. So it's going to be May 6th. It runs for 11 weeks. It's at the police department. It kind of gives you an inside look about what officers go through. And it's a little mini police academy. We take you through the same things, and you get to meet our different divisions, different officers. You get to shoot some guns. We do some traffic stops. We take you out on the lake. It's really a lot of fun. So that's on our website now and our social media. Of course, the community watch programs are still in high function. We do a lot of crime prevention initiatives in town. We love to do seminars about that, about how to make your home and your vehicle safe.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's great.
We do a lot of teen mentoring, in town now. I'm working with Parks and Recs. They've got so many events that are coming up. We feel that it's important to partner up with Parks and Recs. So any event that they have, you can see us out there. We've got April 17th at Grace Covenant School. We're doing a first responder night. Multiple agencies are coming out. Kids love that stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. It'll be fantastic. That's great.
So, we'll be out there. So folks, come on down to that. We have a shred event coming up at Town Hall on May 3rd. That's a big one. After tax season. Get rid of that old clutter. And
that's one of the most popular things we do. Everybody always calls about that.
Absolutely.
What's
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, we do coffee with the cop and we do pizza with the police and things like that. But again, we're going to do more impactful things in town to really change people's lives. So folks, always look at our website, follow our social media page on Facebook, Instagram. And if you have any questions, you can always call the police department, ask for Officer Vinnie.
Reach out.
Yeah, but just reach out. And I'd be happy to sit with you and have a cup of coffee and see what we can do to make your town better. So that's it, folks. I really appreciate your time. Again, this is Officer Vinnie DiGerolamo with About Town, filling in for Woody Washam. You stay safe and take care.
Appreciate your time.
Serving you better than ever before. 105.9, 100.7. WSIC, Statesville, Mooresville, North Charlotte.